Good evening, hello everybody, and welcome along to a Tuesday night of TGP1 action. You join us from, well, a very overcast Montreal as we got the rain on its way at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, which is why our stream is up and running nice and early, so you get to see what could end up being the most important part of this qualifying session. I'm joined in the commentary box by Jack Craig. Jack, tell us what's going on out there so far.
Absolutely incredible scenes. It's going to get wet. Jovial Mani's on provisional pole. Casper just sneaks onto the front row of the grid. Softy again is going to be starting near the back with a qualifying ban, and it's just up for grabs this race so far in qualifying.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. And we had Cam, who actually disconnected from the lobby on our way to the track. And he's just rejoined, and he's out there on a fast lap at the moment. And I'll tell you what, Jack, he's purple in Sector 1. These laps could decide the grid for this upcoming race. So these are really important laps for the drivers. They might not get a second chance, as we have got rain on its way, as we said. Cam up to the second sector at the moment, and he's lost the purple times. So he may have dropped a little bit of time in that middle sector, Jack.
Yeah, he had a rough hairpin section through in Sector 2. It's now all about the DRS, the final couple of corners where so many people get warnings and penalties. He's got to keep it in between the white lines to get a chance to move ahead of Softy, as you see in the bottom of your left hand side. Softy retired. He keeps it nice and clean. He's invalidated on the exit though. And Cam is 18th, and he needs to get into the pits and get some fresh rubber on before the rain comes.
Is he going to try and do another lap straight afterwards, do you think? Does he have the life in the battery? No, it's because his next lap look is invalidated as well, so he's got to get back to the pits ASAP Rocky if he's going to have any chance of putting in a quick lap in this session. Meanwhile, on the track at the moment, we've got Casper, who's coming back to the pits at the moment. Court is out there on a quick lap at the moment, and he, according to my timing screens, went purple in the middle sector.
Yeah, Court will open up the DRS in the Alfa Romeo. The man that's had a very impressive season. He's had some great results. And what will his time be? Can he improve on P6, the truck? This is probably the best the truck is going to be in qualifying. If the rain does come, he'll run up. He takes the shortest run up to the line, and it's pole position.
The Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, puts himself on provisional pole. But when's the rain going to come? We've got a lot of drivers on outlaps at the moment. But look at that, Jovial Manatee and Casper still in the pits. Maybe they think the rain isn't going to come as quickly as everybody else, and they're trying to get, as you said, Jack, those ideal track conditions.
Absolutely. Johners, the man that took the provisional pole originally in the first runs, is just starting his lap now, number 45 in the Red Bull. What can Johners do? Can he improve on his current position, which is P5? He takes the run into turn number 1. Is nice on the curb, not invalidating like Cam did on the previous run. And Johners, what will his Sector 1 split time be? He needs to try and get about 4/10 of a second to Court, who's set a very good lap with a 10-1, but you would expect some of the faster guys to improve on that. And Johners, 2 times up, he's doing what he needs to do currently to take an improvement on his lap. He'll open up the DRS for the second of 3 in this lovely track, but so hard, isn't it, to keep it between the white lines? So many seasons, so many races, we've seen guys getting penalties, and Johners is looking very quick and very good through this lap, through Sector 2. What will his split time be? It's 3/10 now. It's purple in Sector 2 for the Red Bull driver. Johners now a veteran at TGP1. He knows how to get the job done. What will he be able to do coming up now to the last DRS bit? He'll use all of that battery he's got remaining. He'll want the guys who are just ahead in the chicane to get out of the way. And will he be able to keep it between the white lines? No, he can't.
I was about to say that car looked on rails around most of that lap, but Johners, he dropped the ball right at the last, and unfortunately for him, it looked like it was going to be our first driver into the 1:09 9s. It was that good a lap, but unfortunately for him, he lost the time where he really didn't need to, and now we've got Court Gill's teammate, Dan the Man, next of our big runners, you have to say, who's going to be coming up to the line, and he is improving. So, but Machine Island has taken that gauntlet, and where his teammate fumbled it, he's picked up the bag and he's thrown it on provisional pole. Dan the Man pits. Matt Tibos has just flown up into 3rd place. Jovial Manatee is coming to the end of Sector 2 at the moment. We'll get a split time for him. He's not improving.
No, he's not improving, and I tell you what, Jack Hickey is the man to watch. The McLaren, he's 6 steps up. Oh no, my game's lying to me. He's now 1.2 down.
Unbelievable. It's fine. I'll just go back to Jovial Manatee. I quickly flipped to the McLaren of Jack Hickey, expecting to see purple all over my timesheets, but I didn't see that as we said. No, Jovial Manatee's in the wall. That's a big accident for the AlphaTauri driver, and he's going to be no better than fourth on this grid, and it's a disaster for him. Casper is half a second down in the first blitzer. He's not finding time at the moment. The Alpine driver, who has had a very impressive start to his TGP1 career, and he's really backed off now, so he is not going to be improving. As we look through the field, Phil Bargewell isn't finding time in the middle split either. I can't see rain on my screen, but is it raining already? Because the drivers aren't improving.
No, I just think people are struggling for grip. Maybe the track temperatures have dropped just before the rain comes. Casper is going to get another shot. He's just about to start a lap using some battery now.
Cam's on a lap. He's just gone through the first split. Obviously, we have no idea how his time compares at the moment, but he did a 19.5 in the first sector. The Williams driver, who is the only Williams, actually, in the race for tonight. And we've got, as we very briefly mentioned earlier, but we have got our championship leader, Softcop, and six-time TGP1 champion, qualifying ban for him. So he is going to be starting from 19th on the grid. Court's just left the pits on another outlap. We've got Viva Lamerco, Phil Bargewell, Wet Lemons on a lap as well. So we'll keep an eye on Casper, who's the other person we will be looking at intently. Court is just started a lap as well. The man currently provisionally in second place. And we've got 7.5 minutes to go. And we got... Sorry?
Cam's about to get pole position here.
Wow.
1994. What a lot from Cam. He's just managed to pimp Machine Ireland there. What can Casper do?
Yep, let's keep an eye on the Alpine driver then as he comes towards the final chicane, towards the Wall of Champions, who we're wanting to avoid. Jovial Manatee, I don't think he's ever been a TGP1 champion. He's been a TGP GT champion, but he ended up in the Wall of Champions. Casper invalidates. He is not going to improve on 6 at the moment. Court Gill, how's he getting on? He's found time in the first sector and he's finding time in the second sector, but at the moment it might not be enough to push him any higher than third. It might not be enough to get him on the front row unless he absolutely nails this final chicane.
Yeah, he absolutely does need to. It's going to be an improvement, so it gets him further away from the chasing pack to take the second row of the grid, but he wants the front row, he wants pole position, he takes it beautifully, but he has a wee bit of an exit problem there. The car doesn't want to turn left. He'll run up to the line. It's P2.
Yeah, by 100th of a second, he displaces Machine Island. Where's Johners in all of this? Johners is just starting a lap time, actually. Let's look at this. So, the Red Bull driver, and we're still not seeing this rain, this promised rain that we've promised, funnily enough, hasn't come just yet, and that is a relief for the likes of Johners, who, despite being provisional pole after the first few runs, has dropped all the way down to 9th. But Jack, he's finding time in the first sector.
Absolutely, he's looked so good in Sector 1 and Sector 2 in those opening parts of qualifying, but it's just been the final couple of corners that have let him down. What can he do now coming through? And he's invalidated again, just as I say, he's been good through Sector 2.
Commentator's curse strikes again. And we've got Matt Tibos, who's on an outlap at the moment. Any other hitters? We just got Viva Lamerco, who's popped up into 8th place. Dom Smith, I think, is on a lap as well, the Ferrari driver. His teammate currently P11 and in the pits, as we've got 5.5 minutes to go then. Dom Smith coming up to the end of the second split. Is this going to be an improvement from the Manxman? I highly doubt it. It isn't. He's 1.2 seconds off the pace. So 5 minutes to go. This rain hasn't come, and I think there's going to be a lot of drivers grateful for this. Not to say the least, New Zealand Cam, who, if the rain had come a bit earlier, well, he might not have got his lap time in.
Yeah, this has been a disaster for the guys at the beginning of the qualifying. They were panicking, but Cam got let off of it, and it looks like it is going to stay dry. But the truck, this is Matt Tibbles always had a moment. He almost had a venture into the wall. But yeah, the guys, Court Gill, he'll be happy. Machine Ireland, they'll be happy. They, on their second runs, improved massively. But the guys, maybe feeling a bit of pressure on their first run, can now settle down knowing that they do have another go. And it doesn't look like it is going to tumble down with rain. So it looks like we're going to be okay for slick tyres until the end.
Yeah, I sort of, I feel like we've been cheated of a. I mean, we still have a very good qualifying session. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I feel like we've missed out on the rain. There we go. Pros and cons. We've got Casper who's on an out lap at the moment. Jack Hickey is on a lap time, and I think he's on a push lap. So, McLaren driver, former two-time TGP1 champion. And he heads towards the wall of champions, hopefully metaphorically, not literally, as he gets through the final corner nice and safely. And the run-up to the line, is this going to be improvement on ninth? It is. It's P3. Very good lap time from the McLaren driver.
A very, very good lap time from the McLaren driver. And I tell you who's on a lap, it's Court Gill in the Alfa Romeo. This could be provisional pole position here for Court Gill, and it is a 9:14. What a lap from the Alfa Romeo driver.
Well, he's never won a TGP1 title. Court Gill is often known and referred to as the lesser famous and the, less good Gillison brother, Isaac, who currently competing in with Ferrari in various esports championships. But Court's having his moment in the sun right now as has put himself onto provisional pole. As we got Lewis Craig on he was on a lap, but I think he's made a mistake because he's backed right off. And we've got Casper in the Alpine. He's about to start a lap. So, Jack, we're going to ride on board with the Alpine driver. Take us on a lap around the circuit of Gilles Villeneuve.
And here we go into turn number 1, nice and early on the brakes, into third gear for turn 2. Go as wide as you can on the exit to pick up as much speed as possible. The back end of that Alpine is not wanting to be planted. Casper probably not going to get as much improvement on this lap as he would like, but it looks clean other than the exit at turn number 2 now into the hardest part of the track. You've got to try and ride as much curb as you can while keeping the car stable. He'll open up the DRS, he'll put the pedal all the way to the floor, try and gain as much time as he possibly can now. Can he avoid cutting the corner? He does, uses the curb on the exit as well, underneath the sign on the man-made island here. And it's not an improvement at the moment, and he goes very deep, and that could be his qualifying over for Casper.
Yeah, that's not what he wanted at all. 7th in the order so far, and a man who has won a couple of times already in TGP1 this season, and he will not be very impressed with that one. I see Johners is out there on a lap at the moment. The Red Bull driver, as we said, was flying at the beginning of this qualifying session, but unfortunately for him, has found himself tumbling down the order ever since. But we've got a minute and 40 seconds to go. We've got a lot of drivers out there on track at the moment, some on out laps, some on fast laps. We're watching the Red Bull of Johners hurtling towards the final chicane, passing the Wall of Champions, doesn't invalidate this time. And could this be an improvement? The man from Harlow, he comes to the line and he only goes P5. I think he'll be disappointed with that one. But now we've got a whole host of drivers who are coming towards the end of their laps. Cam has just started one, so we'll keep an eye on other people. No, we won't actually. We'll keep an eye on Cam. Jack Hickey is backed off of his lap and invalidated it. So the Williams of Cam then coming through the middle sector at the moment. He has got a 1/10 of a second just under to reclaim pole position.
And it's looking like it will be pole position for Cam. He's improving quite a lot, and he's actually lost time in sector 2 there. Maybe the Mercedes driver not giving him the best of slipstreams, maybe getting in the way. But Cam, he's going to have to find around about a 1/10 of a second to knock Court Gill off top spot. Here, he'll open up the DRS, he'll use what he's got in the ERS battery pack to his advantage, but can he avoid cutting the corner there? He does. He had a wee moment, and that could cost Cam a chance at pole position. What will it be on the run up to the line? It is pole position, and Court Gill hasn't got time. Can he make it to the line? He's got so close. Can Court Gill get another run here?
Yeah, I think he's just coming through the final chicane now, so it's going to be touch and go. Meanwhile, Machine Island, 4th place at the order at the moment. Court Gill did get to the line in time, so we'll get one more lap. And Machine Island then through the middle split. He's finding a little bit of time, but he needs to find probably just over 2/10 if he's going to be challenging Cam. What a lap that was for Cam as well, by the way. At the last, under pressure, he needed to pull that one out of the bag, and he did. And with Softcop down in 19th place, where he's going to start this race. This is exactly where he needed to be. Casper, I think, is trying to put in another lap as well, but we're watching Machine Island as he comes through the final chicane. This looks good. This looks clean. This looks tidy. This looks like it's going to be 3rd place for Machine Island. No better than that. Johners is on a lap as well. He's improving, coming through the first sector. How is his split time going to be in sector number 2? And he's still finding a little bit of time. Johners could still trouble the first couple of rows of this grid.
Yeah, Johners, he was the fastest man in the first part of qualifying. He kind of boiled off the pace, but he's back on the pace. He's getting a lovely slipstream there off the Alpine driver, maybe unintentional, but Johners could nick a front row spot here. He's kept it clean, he's not invalidated, he touches the grass on the right hand side, but what will it be on the run up to the line? It's P4. A massive improvement there from the P10 it was earlier in the session. Court Gill couldn't find the time to sneak pole position, and look how close that gap is.
1,000th of a second, my goodness me, unseen by me. I almost forgot about Court. I'm so sorry, Court, but he will be distraught to have missed out on pole position by 1,000th of a second. What a showing that was from Mr. Gillison. Hats off to you, sir. We saw in the background there, my expression was, I just saw Matt Tibbles have a horrendous accident at the Wall of Champions. I just don't think he turned for the corner. He flew into there and, ended up, I'm sure, with probably a trip to the medical centre from that one as well, I'd have thought. However, it's New Zealand Cam who takes pole position by, look at that, 1,000th of a second. That's got to be up there with one of the closest TGP1 qualifyings we've ever had. And it didn't rain. Rain never came. Court, the Flying Dutchman, is on the front row with him, and then it's an all Red Bull second row, third and fourth, Machine Island and Jonas respectively. Jack Hickey was fifth. Dan the Man, he'll be disappointed with sixth, I would have thought. Matt Tibos, we hope he's fit enough to race. He's going to be starting seventh if he does. Jovial Manatee is eighth. It's an all finish, fifth row with Casper and Viva Lamerco. Mr. Chiapelli was 11th, Lewis Craig in 12th. It was Phil Bardwell 13th, Wet Lemons in 14th, Dom Smith in 15th, Aidan Griffins in the other Alpine was 16th, Chris Johnson 17th, Dan Morris 18th, and look at that, our championship leader and six-time champion, Softcop, starts last. Well, we certainly had an interesting qualifying session. Are we going to have an interesting race to go with it? I'd like to say, looking at the grid and looking at the fact that at the moment it isn't raining, it isn't racing, that's factually accurate, I reckon we're going to have a good race.
I think we are too. It's going to be one of those Canada races. Are we going to get plenty of time penalties? I imagine we will. So the order that finishes on the road might not be the order we get in the end. But yeah, this is great for Cam. It's great for Machine Ireland. These guys have a chance to claw back that gap to Softies. Obviously on 109 points in the championship. They need every point on Softy they can get. But it's going to be the Softy show, you'd imagine. Is he going to be able to do what he did in Monaco and go from 19th all the way up to P4? If there was a man that could do it, it definitely would be him.
I still find it hard to believe that he did that. I mean, I know I watched it happen, but I still cannot believe that that actually happened. Anyway, as you said, let's see if he can do it this time round. Because we've got 3, 4, 5 lights in Canada at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, and we're underway. And it wasn't a very good start from Cam, and Court might have a run of the first row. And Jovial Manatee got a fantastic start a little bit further back, and he's already jumped up to 7th place. Casper's up to 8th as well. Dan the Man almost looked like he didn't get away. Jack Hickey is challenging Jonas round the outside. The Red Bull driver has dropped down to 5th place. We've got a yellow flag a little bit further back. We've got Mr. Chiapelli, who looks to have been turned around along with Wet Lemons and Dan Morris. And as they make their way through the first sector, Cam has held on to his lead from Court. And a little bit further back, we've got Jovial Manatee, who is putting pressure on Matt Tibos after an excellent start, and Casper in 8th place, a little bit further behind them, as well as the field, all starting to sort themselves out as we get towards the end of sector number 2. But Court Gill is looking racy at the front of the field.
Yeah, Cam didn't have a great launch off the line, but the second phase of his start was absolutely incredible from the Williams driver. Machine Ireland on the back of this battle as well. They're going to be dying to get moves done instantly, and Cam gets a good exit off the hairpin there. Machine Ireland is the closest man to have a move, and it's going to be a very dangerous place to make a move in there. If you've had any racing experience, you'll know that. Machine Iron having a wee look, but thinks better of it. He's close, and look in the background there, the McLaren driver almost having a loss.
I think it's Machine Island now. Yeah, he got the really good run coming out of the chicane, and he got the jump on Court into turn number 1. Jonas almost looked like he was going to make a move on Jack Hickey as well, a little bit further back, who's starting to get detached. And look at that, Softcop is up to 11th after lap 1. He's gone from 19th to 11th place. He made up 8 positions.
Yeah, Softy managed to avoid all the drama being at the back. Actually maybe helped him out a wee bit there. He's so close now to the back of Phil Bargil and possible big points. These guys at the front, they need to get away. They need to pull away and get clear so they can hold on. And Matt Tibbles is looking racy here. Down the inside, he might look to go and maybe just pressuring Johners into trying going defensive to make him have a bad run into the hairpin. You can't make moves into this hairpin, of course. Matt Tebas, he needs to look in his mirrors as well, because Jovial Manny's wanting a bit of that action for P6.
Yeah, and a very racy start to this, I have to say, actually. I mean, it's looking a little bit concerning for those perhaps sort of fifth downwards, because at the moment Jack Hickey is getting detached from the top three. Over a second now is the gap between Jack Hickey and third place. So as DRS comes into play on the next lap, that could be a bit of a worry for those drivers. Watching them come across the line now. Phil Barswell, the first driver to pick up a time penalty. That will not be the first in this race, I'm sure. As we've got Cam, who still leads the race at the moment at Machine Island's looking quick, Jack.
It definitely is. DRS enabled on lap number 3. These guys, Cam and Machine Ireland, they've had great races, great battles, and Cam, when he's been out in front racing the best of the best, he's kind of struggled this season, hasn't he? Can Machine Ireland put the pressure on the defending champion? Obviously, Machine Ireland second in the standings. He needs to get a move on Softy, already into the top 10 now. And you're just thinking, how close is he going to get to these guys come the end of the Grand Prix? This is probably going to be the first real chance with the DRS as Calm locks up. The pressure maybe getting to the Williams man. Machine Ireland will use a bit of the battery. He will use the DRS. Can he make the move? There it is, open on the Red Bull rear wing. An extra 12 kilometres an hour down the back straight. It's not going to be enough this time around, but you can only imagine it's a matter of time before Machine Ireland's flying past.
I don't think he had the DRS open. I think he was waiting till this straight, because look at this. He's getting really close. He set the fastest lap of the race, and he looked to do a move round the inside, as Machine Island did, but he thought better of it in the end, and he sticks in second place at the moment. But Court's doing well to hang on, because look at that gap back to Jack Hickey now. It's 1.7 seconds, and it's very much at the moment a 3-horse race, and sort of everybody else.
Yeah, the top 12 all on the medium tyres, so their strategy is kind of all going to be the same. It's just going to be who blinks first, as Court Gill has actually gone purple in sector number 1 here, and Court is doing a very good job, like he's done all season. Obviously 5th in the standings. He's done a great job of managing to be in that top 4 conversation week in and week out, but it's all a matter of time now. Can he hold on to the back of these guys until the pit stop phases and maybe get a chance of an undercut?
Well, we'll certainly find out in due course. We've got the main DRS zone coming up again now, and it's going to be a good opportunity for Machine Island potentially to work his way back up into first place. Rebel driver sitting in the slipstream, and he thinks better of it at the moment. Is he going to have a run down to turn 1? He needs a good exit, and it looks like that's exactly what he got. Cam will be defending, but Machine Island, I don't think, has got the run on him this time around that he did last lap. So it's as they were then into turn number 1. New Zealand Cam from Machine Island and Court Gill just about hanging on behind, as Jack Hickey is doing his best impression of a trolley train there behind.
Yeah, he's just got a DRS train forming behind him, and Jack Hickey, they'll be wanting to get ahead of him, Johners. He needs to get ahead. You don't want to be sticking this big pack of cars. Softy made a move on Dan the Man on the previous back straight, and he's already now behind Casper in his DRS, and he'll be wanting to get past. But Casper, he needs to get a move on as well. These guys cannot afford to be sticking this train at this stage in the Grand Prix. And Matt Tibbles as well, he needs to get a move on. He's been impressive this season, some good results, some podiums. The Haasman kind of just stuck in this train forming behind Jack Hickey in the McLaren.
And Jack's not doing a bad job. He's not sort of dropping off massively, but you know, he's getting detached from that first group, and that will be costing those behind. They're all sat in their dirty air. It's a bit of a DRS train, as you said, Jack, and that's not helping any of them make progress. But in fairness, no one's making progress really at the front either. Machine Island still right behind Cam, and doesn't look like he's able to make a move at the moment.
No, it doesn't look like it. It's just one of those kind of circuits where when you lose that DRS, it is really hard to keep up with the cars ahead, especially when they've got some DRS and able to furt. The only soft runner, Lewis Craig, in the pits now, so his softs, as you see there, they do not last long at all, do they? So maybe we're going to see these tyres last a really, really long time into this Grand Prix for the top 12. Casper is the man trying to make a move on Jovial Manny, but just that part of the circuit just can't get the job done. He'll have the DRS, he's very close. He obviously sees the Aston Martin and the Softy in his mirrors. He needs to get a move on. If not, it will be Softy flying past him in a matter of moments, because he's the man you can't keep behind for too long.
No, you can't. And And you're right. I mean, if he doesn't find a way past Jovial Manatee, I'm pretty sure Softy will find a way past. As I thought, Jovial Manatee was about to send one to the inside there. Oh, Casper did, and he locked up badly. And that is the sort of sniff of an opportunity that Softy needs. But Jovial Manatee got a really poor exit off of that hairpin, and it might leave him open to attack from Casper as they head down the main straight. And no, Softy's going to think about it. Softy doesn't think about it. Softy's going to do it. And that's exactly what we spoke about. You know, he just needs half an opportunity and he will take it, but he hasn't had a good exit. And this puts Casper in a really good position to attack on the run out to turn one. Softy goes defensive to the inside, but Casper finds a way past and he moves back up into 8th place.
Lovely defensive driving from Casper, the Alpine driver, showing his touch of class that 1 and 2 Grand Prix. Machine Ireland was side by side with Cam into turn number 1, and Cam managed to fend him off. But Courtgill is right on the back of these guys now. The battle for the lead starting to spice up as Softy has kind of been put under pressure to get past Casper. But great defensive driving from Casper there in the Alpine Court as well. Look how close he's got, so much closer to the guys in front since they had a wee battle. And maybe Court now is fancying top spot.
Well, we just saw Machine Island have a little bit of a wobble then coming out of the chicane, and he's locked up coming into the hairpin as well. These three are giving it everything they've got. It was unseen by the cameras, or at least my camera. Cam and Machine Island side by side into turn number 1, but I'm glad we've got the camera on them now, because this is a fantastic battle for the lead. And Machine Island, look, he's not using DRS on that main straight, perhaps knowing that his best opportunity is in turn 1, but look at the run he's got out of the last chicane. Surely this is his opportunity.
Surely it is. He's going to move to the right hand side. Cam goes defensive. This is exactly what happened on the previous lap, and again Cam with some beautiful car placement. Their Court is on the back of this battle as well, as we see some runners further down the order making some pit stops, and a few guys have actually gone onto the softs very early. Maybe this is going to be a 2-stop for some drivers.
Yeah, we've got Casper, Johners, down the man in. So, you know, some people that were in that battle just behind our top 3, as it's Court again, who's looking the most racy out of these 3. Jack, he's really putting a lot of pressure on Machine Island. Something's got to give in this top 3 soon, as Court runs a little bit wide, actually. Oh, and he nearly drops it. So, commentator's curse coming into immediate effect there, it seems.
Yeah, Court, he's been impressive, and he's keeping these guys honest up front as Machine Island is locked up again. Not doing his tyres any favours at this stage in the race. You want these tyres to last as long as they possibly can. But this time, he's a lot closer than previous. You're correct. He's not using the DRS on this straight here, saving it for the beginning, the start-finish straight, and that's actually allowing Court to catch up. And it is Court's in the pits, so Court trying the undercut on these guys. But now Machine Ireland going to have to move to the right, because Cam, yet again, been frustrating, staying on the left-hand side of Machine Ireland. This time he's right around him. He's going to push the Williams wide, and it should be the lead of the Grand Prix, but Cam is not giving it up, and he manages to hold on for now.
Excellent side-by-side racing between these two. They gave each other the space, and we've just seen a fantastic battle for the lead. Meanwhile, Court pitting is going to be... Well, he's going to think his chickens are coming early to roost if this keeps going on, because the undercut could be massive. And look at this, Machine Island again pulls to the inside, but Cam just has enough speed to defend him off. But while these two are battling, Jack Hickey's catching up, Softy's in 4th place, and we've got drivers, as you said, already coming to the pits early to change onto those soft tyres.
Absolutely, Jack Hickey is actually catching up quite a fair bit now with no Courtgill behind. Maybe this is the time for Machine Ireland to get the DRS open and try and make a move, or will we see both of these guys cover off the field? And there's yellow flags as Casper's retired after an early pit stop. Not good for Casper, he's had a crash there, and both the top 2 box. Will we see Jack Hickey come in? Yeah, we do, and that should be everyone in the top 6 now, top 5 coming into the pits. And I tell you what, Courtgill is going to be leading this Grand Prix, I think.
I think he is. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think, you know, he's coming through the last corner now, stamps on the power. We've got the top 2 just leaving their boxes as Courtgill crosses the line to take the lead of the race, and as he misses out... as he has to go the usual route through his turns 1 and 2, he takes the lead of the race. Johners could be in with a good shout, jumping his teammate here, but no, not quite. He falls into place behind these two. But Court's lead over Cam is about 2 seconds. This is huge.
2.5 seconds the gap between first and third. This is exactly what Court needed, and only 1 lap older tyres. It's not going to make that much of a difference. Jack Hickey, he's come out behind Johners, 2 laps fresher rubber. He's just got to get the foot down now. This is what Johners needed. He needed to get past Jack Hickey, does the undercut, gets past. Now, can he hold him up and stop Jack Hickey catching his teammate? But Machine Ireland, he's right on the back of Cam still, so no heroics from Red Bull in the pit stops, but they're 2.8 back now. It's actually gone up to 3 behind Court. This could be a mastering strategy on the undercut.
Yeah, I think they got held up a little bit behind Viva La Merco. Viva La Merco has now been passed by Cam, has now been passed by Fishy, and I'd have thought... I say Fishy, I'm sorry, I mean Machine Island, I keep saying that name. But Viva La Merco does now pit, and this could be the opportunity that Machine Island needs. Look at the run he's had off of the last corner. Cam is trying his best to defend, but I think it might be too much too late as he covers the inside line. Machine Island's still there, and it's almost a repeat of what we saw 2 laps ago. But this time, Machine Island has got the grip, and he's got second place.
What a lovely move and lovely driving from the pair, and I tell you what, Court Gill has picked up a time penalty, so all that hard work is now undone. Machine Ireland, he has to get the foot down, he has to keep ahead of Cam because it's now for the win. He doesn't even need to overtake the Alfa Romeo ahead, but what driving it's been from the front 2 in this Grand Prix between Machine Ireland and Cam. Cam now, it's his turn. Can he get the DRS, the battery open? Can he try and make a charge to get back into P2? And I tell you what, Johners is doing a good job in holding up to these guys, as Jack Hickey is now in the DRS of the second Red Bull. And Softy, look at him lurking in the background. He's quite close to this battle for the podium.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I know. He's in P6. He's done the overcut. While people around him done undercuts, he's done the overcut. And here comes Cam then on the DRS. And he's not going to employ Machine Island strategy. Gets the move done. Straight back up into second place. But how can Machine Island respond? He hasn't got the DRS, of course, because it's a double helping of DRS on the main straight and the start-finish straight. The soft cop sets the fastest lap of the race in P6. Do not count soft cop out for the winning this race. With Court's time penalty of 3 seconds... And if Softy works his way up into second place and keeps within 3 seconds of Court Gill, this could be one of the greatest drives we have seen in GP1.
Absolutely. Matt Tibbles has made an absolutely lovely move on Jovi Omani, but now Jovi Omani's going to come back round the outside there. They've made a little bit of contact, but Jovi Omani back up at the inside, and Matt Tibbles has not given up. He's going to squeeze him as wide as he possibly can, and Matt Tibbles holds on to the position. And now Cam's picked up a time penalty. Mistakes creeping in at the front. Softy going to be absolutely licking his lips in P6 back there.
Yeah, and these two, despite the fact that they're battling, they are catching Court. So they're doing what they need to do while battling. And Court needs to get his head down. Maybe he's preserving the tyres, but with that penalty, he needs to clear off.
Yeah, Court may be struggling. His Machine Ireland sails past, not doing the first strategy. He gets the DRS open, and now he'll be able to hold off Cam, you would imagine. But Cam is going to do everything in his power to try and get the move done. But he doesn't have the straight line speed to get the move done. Jack Hickey as well, he's right on the gearbox of the second Red Bull. Johners, what can he do now? He's going to be the man that needs to make a move. If not, Softy will eventually get past. And Machine Ireland is closing that gap. It's gone from 2.5 to 1.7. Court may be struggling in the second phase of this race.
Yeah, I think he is, because that gap, as you said, is being slashed. Machine Island putting himself in a great place to win this race. If my memory serves me right, that'll be his first win of the season. I think it will as well. So, if he wants to kickstart his championship, now would be a good time to kickstart it. Softy, in the position he is in 6th place at the moment, by the time penalties applied, could end up in 4th place. So this is a big moment. But look at Cam. I mean, he's absolutely rinsed his battery. I mean, that is beyond empty. But he's back up into second place. So Softy puts a move on Jack Hickey as well to move up into 5th.
And he's actually going to open up the DRS one more time. Car number 99, he's thinking about Johners. 2 in 1 lap is not going to be quite close enough. Cam's quite famous for wasting that battery quite early on in the Grand Prix. He tends to run on around about 10 to 25%. Machine Ireland did win in Brazil in the second round of the season.
Oh,
we'll let Mike off for not being there. We'll let him off for not knowing. But Softy, he's looking very racy for P4 at the moment. But Jack Hickey, he's managed to hold on for this battle. Maybe going to try get a move down on Johners when Softy gets his move down as well.
Yep, and I clearly need to do more homework before I come back into commentary, it seems. And look at that gap as well. A second separates second from first, and it's now under a second. And will Cam have DRS? Because he can use that to defend. But with Johners now outside of DRS and going wide, this gives Softy the perfect opportunity he needs to move his way up into fourth place.
Absolutely. Here comes the Aston Martin driver. It looks like a done deal. Johners will go defensive early, but it's not enough. Softy sails past him and now has his sights fully focused on Machine Ireland, because all he has to do is beat Machine Ireland and he wins the Grand Prix. I tell you what, Monaco was impressive even with all the retirements. This would be even more impressive, especially if he can finish in the top two. And I tell you what, Softy's not finishing above anywhere lower than second, and he's not thinking about finishing second. He wants that win.
He wants the win. He wants to win from 19th. Who can blame him with the speed he's got at the moment and the way he's executed this race? And this is what's so devastating about this man. He is just incessant. You know, there is nothing that can happen that can throw him off stride. It's not as if he's done a clever strategy. He didn't do the opposite of everyone else. He put the same tyres on as everyone else. He pitted a lap later than most people. He overcut them and is now in contention for the lead of this race from 19th on the grid. Outstanding, absolutely outstanding, as Cam makes a lock-up. And in fairness, the actions that Cam and Court are doing at the moment is helping Softy.
And here comes Jack kicking out on the left-hand side of Johners. Looks like it's going to be a done deal for P5. It is, and Softy, yeah, absolutely. He's done it. He can't...
Court's made a mistake. Court's made a mistake, and here goes Cam to take the lead of the race. The Williams driver, as we start lap 16 out of 18, takes the lead of the race as Court makes another mistake. Perhaps those soft tyres are really starting to struggle now. Look at this. Soft Cop is up the inside, and he's made the move on Machine Fishy, which could eventually be for the lead of the race. And there's contact. Softy spinning around as Machine Island tried to go around the outside of the Aston Martin driver, and he's sent spinning round. Tumbles down to 6th place. He's now 7th after Phil Bartwell gets past as well. And it's a disaster for the man from Nottingham, who looked perhaps just a few corners ago like he might end up winning the race. Now he'll be lucky to get a podium.
And I tell you what, Jack Hickey is in prime position to win this Grand Prix now. Whether or not Machine Ireland is going to get a talking to in the stewards after the Grand Prix is regardless, because it doesn't matter. Jack Hickey's only 6 steps back. Jack Hickey, probably someone we didn't expect to win a Grand Prix. Obviously, former TCB1 champion, multiple TCB1 champion. He's not really had the pace of them top 4. Even Court Gill could go top 5. But Jack Hickey now, can he improve? And Johners is there as well for a podium spot.
This is massive. This is huge. We could have a top 3 of Machine Island, Jack Hickey and Johners, and Court and Cam could end up completely out of this. This would be a disaster. And that, as you said, is if Machine Island doesn't end up with a trip to the stewards room. And I would expect, knowing Softy like I do, he will be making an appeal against this.
Absolutely, especially after last week's conundrum where Softy was the one on the receiving end of a penalty. Softy absolutely harmless in that defence. He couldn't do anything there. The Red Bull just swiped to the left-hand side and caught him off guard. But now, Jack Hickey, he has closed that gap to 3/10 of a second. The McLaren driver's eyes have absolutely widened. He's seen first place, the top step on the podium. 25 points could be here for the McLaren driver. He'll open up the DRS after the hairpin. And I tell you what, he wants that move done ASAP, because we're coming now to begin the final lap of the Grand Prix in a couple of corners. And Court Gill and Cam, who could have won this race, either of them could have got a win, but mistakes and penalties have cost them. Jack Hickey now not going to quite be close enough this time around, maybe trying to set it up for turn number one.
It's a huge crash. That's a huge crash. And Johners is out of the race. Machine Island is still going. We've got Cam, who's ended up spun round the wrong way. I don't know what's happened to Jack Hickey. He's got no front wing by the looks of it. He's got himself going again now. What on earth have we just seen? At the final corner, Court's got no front wing, and Softy is going to end up in 3rd place again all of a sudden. What on earth have we just witnessed? Madness at the end of the Canadian Grand Prix.
Softy can win this race. Softy needs to get a move on, with Machine Ireland potentially getting a penalty, and Phil Barger's in the wall now. And they've crashed, and Corgill's now out of the Grand Prix. Softy needs to go. He's currently in P2. This could be a win for Softy. At the moment, it's going to definitely be P2, at least if he can stay in that 2.3 second gap to Cam. Softy, after the spin and the disaster with Machine Ireland at the front a couple of laps ago, it all just lined up for him. And Phil Barswell and Jovi Amani, Matt Tibbles could actually be on the podium here as well, down in 6th place. But it's going to be Machine Ireland who takes the win across the line.
Has he got a front wing? He hasn't got a front wing, Jack. He's about to win the race without a front wing. This is extraordinary. What an end to the race we've seen. On the road, at least, it's going to be Machine Ireland who crosses the line to take the victory. Cam is going to finish on the road second. Softy's going to finish on the road third, but it will get promoted to second. Phil Bargewell, with his penalty, ends up fifth. Jeremy O'Manaty's going to be fourth. No, it's not. It's going to be Matt Tibos in fourth place. And I'm speechless, absolutely speechless. What on earth did we see on the end of the penultimate lap into that chicane? It looked like, from where I sat, that Cam went in too deep, span over the curb, caught, then obviously ran into the side of him. Machine Island followed suit. Jack Hickey then followed suit, and then Johners just looked like he wanted to join in with the crash. So I thought he'd get involved. Maybe he felt a bit left out. I don't know. But I've never seen anything as bizarre as that. What an extraordinary end to this race. Machine Island, as we said, is going to be classified as the winner, but probably going to end up with a trip to the stewards. Softy, I think, finished about 4.5 seconds behind, so depending on any penalty, and despite the spin with that man who won the race, it's levitating now somehow. If only he could have levitated around Softy's car, he might not be in a position where he ends up losing the win. But Machine Island, for the moment at least, gets the winner's trophy. But things could change, so do stick around. Keep an eye on the TGB Series Twitter account at TGB Series after the evening tonight to see if that does change. But then we could have the extraordinary case where Softy could end up winning the race from 19th on the grid. Cam, after all of that, despite causing all the carnage right at the end, was the only man to really come out of that unscathed and finish third. Extraordinary.
An absolutely crazy Grand Prix, and I don't know what happened to the driving on the final 3 laps, but it totally went out the window. Softy from P19 on the grid all the way up into P2, and yeah, I think Cam just lost it. He went deep, didn't get a good run, and it was just a kind of crash on the motorway after that. Everyone just wanted a bit of action, and disaster. Johners as well. Feel bad for him, he had such a great race, but retired at the last moment. Such a disaster for guys further back. But Softy is extending his lead at the top of the championship.
I'm still struggling to comprehend what we've just seen, Jack. I don't even give the rundown of the order. It's too late now, but you can always read it on screen anyway. But my goodness me, that was... I cannot get over what we've just seen. That was madness. Absolutely madness.
Absolutely madness, but that is what we've come to know on TGV4. Maybe not the crashes and the accidents, but the craziness, and anything can happen at any moment in time, and we're getting ready now for Japan. But that's just unreal that Softy was able to get back up the grid that far. And Machine Ireland, you'll be hoping for his sake and his championship hopes and our championship hopes as viewers that no penalty will be given to him, but you won't be able to see, you can't tell that early in the future. But Cam, he's going to be absolutely gutted. He managed to hold on to P3, but that crash, it just looked like he lost it on the entry, didn't he?
Yeah, that's all I can put it to. It looked like he went in too deep, perhaps minding more what was going on behind him than he was in front of him, and he paid the price because actually. Well, would he have been better off? I think he probably would end up finishing third anyway, wouldn't he? So actually, I don't think he's any better off or any worse off. Actually, no, he is worse off because Softy scored more points. So he is worse off for that, despite finishing in probably in exactly the same place he would have done if he hadn't put it in the wall.
Yeah, he's even just created a bigger gap between him and Softy now. And we go to Japan, one-shot quali, 19 laps. Softy now going to be in the battle for pole position. There's going to be no Macabites at the back, no having to drive through traffic at any stage in the Grand Prix. And now it's just going to be who's the fastest man, and hopefully no weather in Japan. Hopefully it's nice and sunny, because we do not want a nice boring wet Japan Grand Prix with 100 guys DNFing. But just the battle in that mid-pack was so tight, that whole Grand Prix, and it just got absolutely turned on its head in those last couple of laps.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, for the sake of the sort of closeness of the championship, I suppose that probably couldn't have gone any worse. Well, actually, no, it could go worse if Machine Island loses his race win. But in terms of everyone else involved, let's talk about who got caught up in that. And we had Casper actually retiring earlier on in that race, didn't we? After his first pit stop, we had Jack Hickey, who I know is not really in the title fight, but he was probably going to win that race, I don't know, maybe at least second. Johners, who I know isn't really sort of a front runner, but still, it's crazy. There wasn't any actual overtaking going on. It was purely just people running into each other.
Yeah, Jack Hickey's probably best opportunity to get at least second place, possibly the win. Absolutely snatched from him, but everyone was so close. Johners was up there. He managed with a strategy to get back up into the order in the top 5, and Court Gill was looking good for a good 5th or 6th finish, and now he managed to DNF as well after I think it was contact with Phil Bardwell later on in the lap as well, cost him so his first bad result of the season. But man, it's time to go to Japan. You've got to forget what's just happened and get your head down and get back on for qualifying.
Well, as we said, we are on our way to Japan. And we've got one shot qualifying, 35% race. Here's an interesting statistic for you all listening, in case you care. Softy's never won a 35% race before. Maybe he'll break that. I mean, certainly if he puts on even half the performance he did in Canada, you'd think that he was a shoo-in for this race victory. But, it's a different track, it's a different race, different setups, I'm sure. Let's see what people have got in their lockers.
Yeah, the longer that streak goes on, the harder for Softy it'll be to get the win. And there's not many things he's not done in TGP1, so maybe someone can affect Softy in this Grand Prix, keep him behind and keep that streak going, because there is sometimes Softy doesn't need to get everything. So hopefully we will see that battle, and hopefully the man that was so good at the beginning of the season, Casper, can get back up in that battle for the wins.
Yeah, well, as we tried to do in one-shot qualifying, very difficult to commentate on everything we're seeing because the order's changing so much. So we will try and stick with a car or two and keep an eye on them, as your best place to look is on the left-hand side on the order, changing probably every half a second. But that's what we love about one-shot quality, and that's what the drivers love about one-shot quality as well. That sense of it's do or die. You got one shot, you got one chance. Let's get cracking with this qualifying session then. As we cross the line, as Phil Bardwell in the Ferrari, currently your pace setter down the fast straight, and into turn number 1 and 2, we swoop through now as the order changes drastically. Of Machine Island now, your provisional pole sitter quickly changed to down the man with Lewis Craig, your brother Jack, up there doing very well.
Up in 3rd place at the moment, he'll be having a nosebleed battling with those guys. Jovi Omani, though, looking like the man to beat, down the man who has been very good at Japan in previous games, doing the business up in the front row of the grid. And there you go, Softy, right up to the top of the grid. Absolutely no danger there in the front 3, kind of settling into the order. We would kind of expect more. Dan Morris up in P7, Viva Lamarco up in P5. This order looking very close to what we wouldn't expect. Viva Lamarco has now taken Lewis's spot up in P3, battling with Machine Island, but it looks like Softy is the pace setter now, and it looks like he is going to steal pole position. Yeah, and look at Court Gill. He's down in 20th and been down in 20th for quite a while. So I don't know if he's made a mistake, maybe got his lap invalidated, but not the sort of qualifying that the Alfa Romeo would have wanted after his DNF in the last race, with that coming together with Phil Bardwell on the last lap. But as you said, it's Softy at the moment in provisional pole. Casper joining him on the front row, although Machine Island has something to say about that as he's now pushed up into 2nd place. Casper and Machine Island changing positions. They come round the last corner now as they head towards the line. It's going to be Softcop that's going to take provisional pole. It is Casper
Casper, Machine Island, Viva La Merco, and down the man. Look how close second place was. There's less than a tenth of a second separating 4 drivers. Jonas comes home in 6th, Cam down in 7th. He was disappointed with that one. Jackie, who was 8th, Jovial Manatee, who was quickest at one point in 9th, and I think, if I remember rightly, Matt Tibos rounded out the top 10.
What an end to that qualifying. So many guys were so close to each other in that battle for P2, and look at the gaps yet again. Softy with a big gap obviously on pole, but so many guys, so order changing left and right. Lewis ended up down in P12, so not the qualifying he was after, but Cam in 7th, and Court Gill, as you said, was down the order. I think he finished P20, not what he would have been after.
No, not at all. So let's finish off the rundown of the order then. So we had Alistair Bain P11, Lewis Craig 12th, Phil Bargewell was 13th, of Wet Lemons 14th, Dan Morris 15th, Chris Johnson 16th, Aidan Griffins in 17th, Dom Smith 18th, Mr. Chip Hill in 19th, and last but not least, Court Gill was in 20th. So, drivers going to be getting themselves ready for the race. As we said, 35% race we got coming up, so slightly longer than the last race we just witnessed, with some slightly different challenges as well, you must say. This track, very fluent, very technically difficult, and the drivers have got to have their wits about them, because it doesn't take much to make a mistake around here.
Absolutely not. One of the more elegant tracks.
Yeah, I think elegant's a very good way of putting it, actually. Jack, I think, it's not necessarily the one that produces the best racing in terms of actual action that we see, but, it's challenging, and that's what drivers want at the end of the day. I mean, look at Spa. I mean, that's one of the same. The last couple of seasons, that hasn't been a track that's actually produced the best races, but it's challenging, and it poses, a classic challenge for the drivers that they all want to compete with and they all want to win. So, hey, we'll take that. Anyway, let's focus back on TGP1. Let's focus on this very exciting race we've got coming up. 19 laps of this Suzuka circuit, and we've got 2, 3, 4, 5 lights as the excitement's building and we're underway, and it seemed like a very good start again from Jovial Manatee, and Softy's having to come over and cover Casper, but it doesn't quite have the run as we come into turn number 1. It's as they were in terms of the top 3, the top 4, and Dan the Man is trying to go around the outside of Viva La Mercury, starting on the soft tyres, hoping to get a really good getaway, and he does, and moves up into 4th place as the drivers cleanly make their way through the first few corners, and it's Softy from Casper, from Machine Island, Dan the Man, Viva La Merco and Jonas, as they were, apart from Dan the Man and Viva La Merco, swapping places, as Dan the Man now putting pressure on Machine Island on those soft tyres. Dan the Man's looking racy.
Dan the Man is looking racing. He wants to get back ahead of Machine Island and on to that podium. It's not been the greatest couple of seasons for the driver in the Alfa Romeo. Down the inside, he'll go into the long swooping left hairpin. He's not going to have the grip in the corner, but maybe on the exit he will into Spoon. No, not quite. And a lot more of a split strategy as Matt Tibbles has passed Jack Hickey now for P7.
Yep, as and Machine Island's run wide, and he loses the car a little bit, and he somehow keeps in the right direction. Viva La Merco also ran a little bit wide there as well, but look at the top 2, as Casper is putting pressure on Softy, and as we head towards 130 odd, Dan the Man is trying for a move around the outside of Machine Island, he gets the move done, and I've just noticed that Casper's actually on the soft tyres as well, so he's going to need to get past Softy as soon as possible.
Absolutely, he needs to get the move done this time around. Dan the Man in 3rd, he's on the softs as well, Machine Island on the mediums. Here comes Casper now for the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. Softy moves to the right, going to be a very hard overtake around the outside. He'll swoop there, and Softy slams the door shut, and Casper not able to get the move done there. He needs to get the move done as quickly as he can with that 1.5 second gap down into 3rd, but look how close the order is from 3rd all the way down to pretty much 15th.
Yeah, as something's happened to Aidan Griffins as well. We've got a yellow flag just at the exit of turn number 2, is Casper still piling pressure on Softy, and he knows that he's got to make a move as quickly as he can before Softy's tyres really get up to pace and before his tyres start to drop off.
Yeah, this is the best chance he's got. Unfortunately, Viva La Merco had such a great qualifying and a great start. He's spun and he's all the way down the order now. What can Machine Island do this time? He doesn't look like he's got the speed that Dan the Man did through the hairpin there. And I tell you what, Casper is all over the back of Softy now for the lead of the race. Through Spoon, on the straight now, up to 130. You're obviously too dangerous. for DRS in this part of the track, so it's all about the engine in the back of that car. He moves left, he moves right, he gets down the inside. Softy knows better than to go around the outside there, and Casper going to have to defend because Softy's going to try come back at him, and he manages to hold on. So Casper does what he needed to do, but DRS will be activated this time around.
There we go, a change in the lead of the race. Casper takes the lead away from Softy and takes the fastest lap. And meanwhile, we've got the Red Bulls battling a little bit further back. And it is a change for position as Johners makes his way past Machine Island. Cam sort of having a bit of a race of nobody at the moment. He's under pressure from Matt Tibos, the Haas driver, getting pretty close through the first couple of corners, but not able to make a move. Now, interestingly, with this 35% race, obviously, a slightly longer race distance, which is quite obvious, but also perhaps maybe encouraging more of a two-stop strategy. We could see Suzuka Circuit is very hard on tyres, as we said. It's very technical, very challenging, and we could well see some drivers deciding to make a couple of pit stops, particularly those, at the moment at least, who are starting on the soft tyres, unless they're planning on going over to the hard tyres. But you'd have to say, Jack, I'd be very surprised if we saw the hard tyres in this race.
Especially if you start on the mediums. The soft tyre runners may be thinking, leaning towards that way, but you should be able to get away with a soft medium. You'll just be absolutely screaming. But in this kind of phase of the race, the softs, now it's a longer race distance, are going to be better for longer, and that is why we're seeing the soft tyre runners having the advantage at this stage in the Grand Prix. Softy, he's managing to keep a hold of Casper at the moment at around about 2 attempts. He's going to be the one trying to make the move this time around. He thinks better of it, maybe into the penultimate corner. He moves to the left hand side. Casper goes defensive. Softy going to try and hold it around the outside, and he does. What a move from Softy. Will Casper get the DRS back down into turn number 1? I don't think he will. He does. Look, maybe crossing the line just after, as you see in the background. Casper going to try and make a move, can't get it done. The Williams there of Cam is on the back of Machine Ireland now. Medium versus medium, and Machine Ireland not having the pace in this Grand Prix as he did in the previous one.
I think we're seeing that crossover now, aren't we, with the softs just starting to struggle and the mediums are coming into their own. We've just seen Softy get past Casper. Down the man's dropping back from these guys as well, and Machine Ireland starting to put all kinds of pressure on the back of his teammate Johners.
Absolutely. Maybe synchronised swimming. We've seen the Red Bulls swap over in Australia earlier on in the season. It was kind of the same thing with the driver swapped round. This time it's going to be Machine Ireland down the inside of the hairpin. He can't quite get the move. He forces Johners to move right, and I tell you what, all they're doing is allowing Cam to absolutely have an opportunity here, and it looks like he is going to have an opportunity. Into Spoon it will be for Cam. He's going to have the better line, and he gets the move done, and you'd expect him to be able to get past Johners with pretty ease in the next couple of corners.
Yeah, that didn't really work out for the Red Bulls, you have to say, and unfortunately they're a victim of their own success, it seems. Machine Ireland is going to try and come back at Cam, but meanwhile, back at the front, we've got Casper, whose soft tyres aren't easy for me to say, aren't quite crying wolf just yet, as he's got a little bit more pace in him to try and challenge Softy. And are we going to see a change for the lead of the race? Onto the main straight now. Softy's got a lot more battery in his disposal, so it's in a better place to keep that first place.
Absolutely, he's holding on for now. Casper's kind of revving through that battery, trying to hold on to the Aston Martin driver. Can't quite hold on at that kind of speed. We're using that much battery for the whole 19 laps, so Casper maybe going to have to settle into a rhythm, into the pace, and maybe just accept that Softy isn't doable at this point in the race. Johners, he's kind of losing that gap to Dan the Man, and he's got Cam all over the bottom as we come into Degna 1 and Degna 2. Cam now, can he do the move that he made on Johners' teammate on the previous lap? It looks like he's actually going to do it into the hairpin round the outside. He's going to try and go. Johners, though, with some great car placement. And Cam is another one, yet again, using that battery. He does the switchback, and it looks like he will get the move done that he did on the previous lap to Johners' teammate. And that went to P4 goes Cam. Now, with the better tyres, can he catch the top two?
Yeah, Cam having a solid race, actually, on those medium tyres. Down the man just in front of him on the soft. Casper 2 seconds up the road on the soft and keeping his soft in a good place, actually. We are seeing him keeping Softy honest, and that is a lot more difficult than it sounds.
One of the hardest things to do in racing, but he knows he can win races. He knows he has the pace of the guys at the front. Maybe not the consistency as we've seen in the last couple of races, but he knows when it matters he can get the job done. But it's not him that's going to make the move. It looks like it's going to be Johners down the inside of Cam if he can get the move. Oh, actually, Machine Island's going to have a wee look at that. Oh, they're pushing each other through turns 1 and 2.
Oh, Jonas has run a little bit wide, and Machine Island says thank you very much. You've sort of held me up too long now, Jonas, but don't worry. I'll go and see if I can take care of Cam and Dan in front. As look at these two at the front. I can't get over how well Casper keeping these tyres in check. Unless Softy's just sort of managing his pace, but this is extraordinary pace from the Alpine driver. Where was this in Canada?
Yeah, he seems to be very track dependent. There's a few guys kind of like that. It's kind of hard to be quick everywhere. Not many people are, as he almost goes into the back of Softy there. Almost absolutely killed the Englishman. But he's keeping the tyres good. He's keeping them nice and fresh at the moment. But you would expect Softy to pull away eventually. Maybe just harvesting the battery, the Aston Martin, keeping the mediums fresh. Because as you've seen, the softs go absolutely off. So maybe it's keep them mediums on the car for as long as possible, so you have the quickest softs come the end of the Grand Prix, because you're going to be thinking Casper's coming in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, I think he will be, surely. As well as he's driving, you almost think actually he'd be better pitting and trying to undercut Softy. With the pace he's got at the moment, stuck right behind Softy, you almost think he might be better getting rid of those tyres. I don't know. I'm not a strategist. We've got a yellow flag out. Alistair Bain is retired in the pits. Meanwhile, further back, we've got Phil Bardwell throwing shade on Jack Hickey, and not just throwing shade, but throwing a move. And up into 7th place, the Ferrari driver gets past the McLaren, but what happened there? That almost seemed like Phil just let him back through again. But I'm sure he didn't. We know Phil's a fierce competitor, but we're going back to the front again, because this gap has barely been over 0.3 of a second. This has been incredible racing.
Absolutely. Casper is showing that he's got race-winning potential. He needs to keep doing this, keeping on the back as long as he can, and then when that gap starts to break off a wee bit, that is the time to pit. You don't want to pit too early. You don't want to give Softy a huge tyre advantage that he's already going to get being on the faster compound. So Casper, he needs to make this stint last as long as it can. It needs to be, like the Mercedes say, plus 6 laps if he can. He needs to keep it as long as possible. And Jack Hickey, earlier on in the race, I think he got a bit offended that Phil Bardwell tried to overtake him into turn number 1.
It did look like it, didn't it? I mean, Phil's all the way back of him again now. It's just gaps a couple of attempts. But we're still focusing on the battle for the lead, because that is also at a couple of attempts. And this is extraordinary racing. This really is. It's just how much Casper's able to keep with him. And I've got to give credit to Dan the man as well. It might be 2.5 seconds back, but that gap is staying around the same. And he's not had Cam, Machine Island or Jonas exactly cruise up behind him and blitz past. So Casper then, as we come onto the main straight again, DRS is going to be open, but I think it could end up being much of a similar story as Dan the man pits, actually, as Casper then, as we get towards turn number 1, Softy goes defensive late. Casper not in a position to make the move and has to stick in 2nd place. Dan the man, actually the first driver to pit of anyone sort of in doing any meaningful running that hasn't had to pit in terms of damage.
Yeah, so that is your benchmark. He's the one to look out for. He's the one that's going to give us all the information on who is going to come out ahead. And I tell you what, Casper is doing what he needs to do. He knows the challenge he's got at hand in the next stint. He knows he's going to be in the mediums. Softy's going to be on the softs. So he needs to keep these tyres in the window where he can pit as late as he possibly can. Because I tell you what, if he can get to around about a lap or 2 before Softy pits, then he's going to be in laughing positions come the end of the Grand Prix. His tyres are going to be so fresh, and it's just how long can he extend this stint. Cam, he's kind of been let loose now that Dan the man's box, but he's not making the inroads we would have expected him to. He's still kind of in that battle with Machine Ireland and Johners.
You have to start to wonder if Cam's actually just happy sitting here. Casper is just happy sitting here. He's clearly got good pace. He's not having to push his tyres too much. Maybe he is managing them, as we said a little bit earlier on, just staying with Softy, keeping the DRS, keeping with him, and then can just sort of reel off, pit at some point when he wants to, and still be in good contention. Because, as you said, Softy's tyres are not going to be in as good a state. So, but he's made these tyres now. This is his 9th lap, as we got Jonas, who's gotten rid of the softs as well. So it's interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Dan the man. As meanwhile, a little bit further back, I thought we were about to see a move between Jack Hickey and Phil, or at the very least Machine Island and Cam. But Casper's making these softs last, and he's doing a bloody good job at it.
Absolutely, this is what he needs to do. Dan the man, who's about 2 seconds adrift of these guys, is 23 seconds off the lead, so he's not making the inroads that he wanted to, but the traffic now have all boxed, so he might be able to now get the foot down. But Casper, he just needs to hold on. If he's in the DRS, I don't actually think it makes sense to box if he can stay in Softy's DRS. I think once it gets to that 7th, 8th, 10th kind of gap, that's the range he'll want to box. He has saved up a bit of that battery. He's got it back up to 40% now. Softy got it on to 70%, so he's not quite in Softy range, but he's managed to save it up a bit. And to me, I'm not the strategist either, and I'm not the man in charge at Alpine, but if this gap's under at least 5 times, I'm not boxing.
No, I think that's fair. Because what we're going to have after this, we're going to have 10 laps left. You know, I don't know. In a minute, we might try and see Softy undercutting Casper, I'm amazed to say. But another lap comes, and another lap he doesn't pit. It's extraordinary. Even Cam and Ireland have pitted, and they're on the mediums. What is Casper doing to these tyres?
He's working the magic. They seem fresh. They're actually gaining time on Cam, even Casper, but that Softy's just pulling them along. Softy's in the lead, and you'd expect Softy to be able to beat Casper on the quicker tyres in the second part of the Grand Prix, but going off this, Casper could definitely do the job that Softy's doing in the next stint, and this is what Casper needs to do. They're not losing any time because they're not battling, and well, the later we go into this Grand Prix, the more it'll favour Casper.
Yeah, as we've seen some pit stop action. So just to bring you up to date with what we've just seen, Dan the Man has extended his gap ahead of Cam and the likes into a comfortable third place now on the medium tyres. Cam came out of the pits just ahead of Johners, and Machine Island has come out of the pits just behind Johners. So that's going to be interesting to see how that develops. As meanwhile, we've got Jack Hickey still keeping Phil Bargewell honest, and talking of keeping people honest, Casper still keeping Softcop honest.
Definitely. Car number 72, 2 wins this season. Softy, 2 wins this season. This is all about who has got the bottle. How long can Casper keep those softs on? How much belief in the car, in his driving ability does he have on the Roaring Webber? Will we see him come into the pits and they both box?
Well, it's the status quo is surely going to be kept, you have to say, as Casper falls into his box a little bit before Softy. Medium tyres go on, that's not a surprise. As Softy, soft tyres go on, again, not a surprise. Oh, I thought Casper had jumped Softy then. That would have been controversial. Dan the Man, meanwhile, is putting his overtaking gun. He's pointing it at Chris Johnson, and he's passing Chris Johnson and moves up into 4th place as Casper and Softy come out of the pits. This is going to be mighty close. Dan the Man, I thought he was going to have a chance at Casper then, as we rejoin this battle with now what could end up being a 3-way fight for the lead. But Dan the Man with tyres that are 2 laps older than those 2 drivers in front of him.
This is really important moments in this Grand Prix. Casper and Softy, they need to get their tyres up into gear and get away from Dan the Man. Casper can't afford any battles with anyone other than the man in P2, the provisional Grand Prix leader, Softy. He needs to keep that gap that was kind of about 2-3 tenths. It's now 7 tenths. He needs to get back in that window of being able to overtake him. He's got a little bit more battery now in the battery. 50%. What can Casper do now? He did the hard work in the previous stint. It's now Softy's turn to do that hard work as Machine Ireland now passes Chris Johnson as well.
Yeah, we just saw Cam make a move on Chris Johnson, Machine Island following suit as Dan the Man has dropped out of DRS range from the 2 in front of him and now dropping into the clutches of New Zealand Cam. So as we get the way to the end of sector number 2, Casper 6/10 of a second behind Softy, so that gap, believe it or not, has actually extended during the pit stops. I don't think I've ever said that before. When the gap's 6/10 of a second, but it is. As Dan the Man now being put on all kinds of pressure from Cam, who on those fresh soft tyres, he might not have any battery, but with the pace he's got, he's going to sail past the Alfa Romeo, and he does.
Sails on to the final step of the podium, and Casper is getting back into that range where it favours him later on in the Grand Prix. Softy knows he can keep them tyres until the end of the race. Casper did it, so Softy can. But it's how much those tyres are going to hold on, not having that DRS that Casper had, and not having that slipstream that Casper had in the previous stint. Can Softy hold on while leading the race? You'd expect if anyone could, it would be him. But Casper, he is in the favourable position to win this Grand Prix. His Machine Ireland is on the back of Dan the Man as well. Going to maybe try and make a move into the hairpin. Not just yet. Dan the Man pitting early, got him into a good position, but he seems to be struggling for grip now.
Yeah, he is struggling. I've just been watching him actually, and as he got passed by Cam. And Machine Island's going to go for it there. That's a brave move, but on the soft tyres, he's got the grip and he's got fourth place. Dan the Man now dropping into 5th place and potentially going to be dropping into the clutches of Johners, who tried the same strategy as him, but is on 1 lap fresher tyres than Dan the Man, it must be said, as we turn our attention back now to the lead of the race and the battle that is still ongoing between Casper and Softy.
And here we go, the DRS going to be open in a couple of seconds. This is the best opportunity Casper's had in a very long time. Softy going to be put under enormous pressure. It's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix from the Alpine driver. Softy used a bit of the battery, and still the Aston Martin manages to hold on for now. But I tell you what, this battle is as close as it's ever been, and Casper is going to put Softy under pressure for the rest of this Grand Prix. What can he do? Calm.
I was just going to say, I'm struggling to understand how someone who spent pretty much the entire lap about 6 centimetres behind the car in front of him has just set a fastest lap of the race. That's extraordinary pace.
Absolutely. Just that slipstream, that DRS, the straight line speed, just giving him that advantage. He did close that gap quite a lot, and I tell you, he won't be setting the fastest lap this time because he's right on the gearbox as Lewis Craig is overtaking the other half of Matt Tibble. I was just going to point your attention to that. This is a mad battle for P7, as Lewis Craig does get past Matt Tibbos for P7 into Degner 1. Absolutely, balls to the wall move, that one from Lewis Craig, and that's put Jack Hickey in a good place now that he might be able to sneak past Matt Tibbos as the Hasses are struggling, and Jack Hickey screamed onto the grass, and there's been contact, and Matt Tibbos is now wingless, and Jack Hickey might have picked up some damage as well. He squeezed too much, and unfortunately for Matt, the squeezing has put him in the worst position, but I think Jack Hickey's probably got some damage as well, because he does seem to be struggling with the front end of that car. Yeah, not good. Another couple of moments where the wing has disappeared. Good news for Lewis, though. He could try get away from this battle. As Jack Hickey now going to go round the outside of Jovial Manny. Can he get the move done? No, not this time. Casper is closing on Softy ahead, but not quite close enough. Machine Ireland was close to Cam, but still not close enough in the midfield battle. What a battle is. Lewis Craig under pressure now from Jovial Manny, who sails past, and the Ferrari of Phil Bargell is past Jack Hickey, who it does look like he has some wing damage.
Yeah, he is struggling out there. Phil Bargewell getting past Lewis Craig as well, as it all got a little bit hot and heated in this midfield battle, as you said, as Lewis Craig now struggling to keep Phil Bargewell behind. Phil Bargewell trying to get creative with his lines, hoping that he can squeeze past the Haas as well, as we saw Lewis Craig overtake someone into the first Degner. Phil Bargewell is going to try and make sure that Lewis Craig is overtaken into the first Degner, but for the moment at least, Lewis Craig's Haas holds firm. But Phil Bargewell with a really good exit, as we've got a little bit of lag there, but Phil Bargewell does make his way up into 8th place, and Court Gill, who's on a bit of a recovery mission as well, right behind this battle is Johners, just a couple of attempts behind Dan the Man now, and Dan really struggling with those tyres. We know he pitted early in comparison, and really starting to struggle with those tyres now, it seems.
Yeah, Dan the Man's tyres not doing what he needs them to do at this phase in the race. Casper, though, his tyres are being absolutely perfect. He's holding on to the back of Softy. 3 times that gap remains. What can he do this time around? He's not looking like he's going to be able to move and make. Jack Hickey hits past Lewis Craig. Now Lewis Craig on older medium tyres. It's kind of going to drop to the back of this pack. And it'd be a good result for him, though. And Dan the Man has actually been passed by Johners now in the start-finish straight. And Dan the Man's tyres are just not doing what he needs them to do, as Phil Bargell's now past Jovial Manny. All the overtakes are happening, and look how close Casper is through the first sector.
This is absolutely insane. I don't think the gap's been more than a second in this whole race. I do not think that's been the case. This has been just driving perfection from these two, showing how it's done, showing how you can battle closely, cleanly, and actually, there's been no. I mean, actually, they've changed position twice, but for most of the laps we've been watching them, they've been as it is. But I tell you what, Jack, I've been glued to my seat I've been glued to the screen watching this. This has been exceptional driving from both drivers.
It's been absolutely fantastic. Casper almost put it in the wall coming out of the hairpin. He had a wee moment. He managed to save it and not lose any time to Softy ahead. But the strategy we thought would be different. It's kind of got us on the edge of our seat, even glued to the edge of it, because look, the battles are so close. And we just don't know who's going to win this race. At this phase in the Grand Prix, it was the other way around at the beginning before the pit stops. Now it's in Casper's favour. Towards the longer we go, you'd expect him to have the better tyres and be able to get the move done. But he just seems to be on that start-finish straight. As I've noticed a lot of times this season, Softy seems to have the advantage when it comes to straight line speed. Softy
just seems to have enough, doesn't he? He's just got an answer. You know, Casper's probably driving one of the best races he's ever driven before. You know, certainly one of, if he does finish second, this would be one of the best second places I've ever witnessed, apart from maybe Softy's second place that he just got in Canada, if it does remain second. But this is just extraordinary. You know, that neither of them have given an inch to each other. It's exceptional. It is exceptional.
Definitely exceptional driving from the two. We've not had a moment's notice as Matt Tibos sets the fastest lap in the Grand Prix, obviously on fresh, soft. But now that gap seems to kind of be breaking up now. It kind of getting to 5 tenths. Maybe Casper just struggling a wee bit in that dirty air as we get later and later into the Grand Prix. More rubber being set on the track, obviously, as the tyres being used and being forced to scream and shout as they get absolutely tossed about the turns. But Casper now, he just needs to keep going. We've got about 4 or 5 laps to go. He just needs to keep the pressure on Softy and try to get the move done as late as he possibly can when Softy's tyres are at the worst. But Machine Ireland, he's keeping New Zealand calm on us as well for that final step in the podium.
Yeah, just been keeping an eye on this little battle here, and Machine Island, I think in a very similar situation to Casper, actually. He's just sort of there, but he's not able to do anything about it in front, as Cam's got a little bit too much in hand, it seems, over them. These two, 4.5 seconds best part behind the leading pair. That is still Casper and Softy. Meanwhile, Down the Man has re-overtaken Johners, as perhaps Down the Man's tyres coming back to him. Maybe he's got through that sort of initial graining phase and tyres coming back to him, it seems.
Yeah, that's what Alfa Romeo and Dan the Man would love to hear. Obviously not been the greatest of season compared to seasons prior, but with Court Gill down the order of P10, Alfa Romeo needs some good points. There seems to be a yellow flag somewhere. I think it's Mr. Chiapelli's had a wee bit of a moment. But Machine Ireland, he's actually very close now to the back of Cam for P3. Red Bull had a very good season. They've probably been the strongest team, if you combine the two drivers, over the course of the opening 6 rounds. But Machine Ireland and Johners, when it comes down to it, they're not too worried about that. They want the best positions they can, and for Machine Ireland's title hopes, he wants Casper to win this race, and he wants to get onto that final step of the podium, but he just can't close that 4/10 gap that, like, Casper can't either.
Yeah, these two seem to be in a similar problem, in a similar predicament, that they can see very easily the next place in front of them, but they just can't do anything about it. Unless we see, I thought Machine Island might have sent one then, and he almost ended up in a Cam's gearbox, as Casper once again on the start-finish straight as we start the penultimate lap of the race. He's running out of opportunities, and he needs to find something extra if he's going to win this race. Machine Island, meanwhile, is going to go around the outside of Cam as Cam sticks his nose back in there. I think they made very little bit of contact, but in the end, Machine Island does come out of the first couple of corners up into 3rd place. I think Casper's got 2, maybe 3 more opportunities in this race to take the lead.
He's only got a couple more opportunities. You're thinking the final couple of corners, turn 1, he's only going to have this on the next lap to do it. So if he gets it done, it needs to be now. This is the moment. He saved up the battery. He did that stint on the softs that was absolutely brutal in him on the car. It's Softy's turn to do that now. Casper has the advantage, he has the ace up his sleeve, but what can Softy do to hold on to this Grand Prix lead? And I tell you what, the battle for the final step of the podium is definitely not over either. This last lap that we're about to start is going to be absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be mega. We've got Cam all over the back of Machine Island. Actually, those two are closer than our leading pair at the moment as Casper dropped to just outside of half a second from Softy. And we know he probably needs to be a couple attempts behind as he goes onto the start-finish straight if he's going to have any chance of taking the lead of the race. He's probably got two more opportunities then. As we start the final lap, Casper got a little bit squirrely on the exit. He didn't need that. So we'll turn our attention to Cam for the moment, who's getting very racy on the back of Machine Island. As I know Casper's he's gaining a lot on Softy. He tries to go to the outside, and Softy covered the inside late. And I thought he was going to send it to the inside of turn number 2 then, but he thought better of it as Cam has made his way up into third place in the end as the Williams driver gets past the Red Bull. But I thought that we were about to have a change for the lead, and we still might, as he's probably still got one more opportunity left on this lap.
Yeah, he's got two opportunities to hairpin and then the final couple of corners into R41R. But what can he do, Casper, now? This is the last chance. This is the only opportunity he's got. This is probably the best race he's ever driven, and he might not even get the win. That is how good Softy is. There is one of the final two kind of overtaking opportunities that he's going to have. He's only got one chance now. He's going to drain the battery. There'll be no DRS. It's going to simply be Renault power versus Mercedes power down this final back straight. Softy looks to have it covered for now as it's 4 tenths, and Cam looks to be okay as well for P3.
Yeah, here we go then. One more opportunity. He's got nothing left. He's giving it everything, and I think Softy has as well, and that might have just saved Softy in what it's been. Well, he hasn't seemingly had to look like he's done very much defending, but he has driven a superb race in much the same way Casper has, and these two take a bow because we've just been witness to a fantastic Japanese Grand Prix that Softy has ended up the winner of. He wins in Japan. He wins his first 35% race. Casper, he gave it everything. He gave his all. He drove a fine race, as you very rightfully said, Jack. Probably the best race he's ever driven, but it wasn't good enough to beat Softy. Cam comes home in third to hold off Machine Island for fourth. Dan the Man, by half a tenth, end up in P5 ahead of Johners. Phil Bargewell was seventh. Jack Hickey was eighth. Jovial Manatee ninth, and by less than half a tenth, Gill missed out on ninth place. He finishes 10th. Lewis Craig was 11th. Dan Morris is going to be next across the line in 12th, and he does. Chris Johnson and the other Aston Martin is going to be 13th, and Dom Smith is going to be 14th, with Wet Lemons and Matt Tibbles actually having a battle to the line, as it involves, it involves a spin and some contact for the both of them. So Mr. Chiapelli, I'm sure, will be very grateful for the fact that he can come round and pick up 15th place.
What an end to the Japanese Grand Prix. What a Japanese Grand Prix it was. And it may have looked like Softy didn't have to do too much defending, but I tell you what, he would have enjoyed that win, that pressure. He would have felt that whole time, the adrenaline rush. Softy will be absolutely delighted to take that win. But that battle for the top, the whole podium battle was absolutely insane. That midfield battle we had in the middle phase of the race as well, it just had it all. And I don't think we can get many better races than that, but I'm sure the guys will try in the rest of the season.
Well, just the fact that, as we said, neither of the front two were giving an inch. And I was so hesitant to say neither of them have made a mistake, neither of them have put a foot wrong, because we didn't want to see that. We wanted to see a great battle, and it's exactly what we had. We had two drivers giving it everything, tooth and nail, not giving an inch, and just a fantastic battle of skill, speed, and strategy. We had two different strategies going on in that race, let's not forget as well, as they were both on different tyres at different times, and it was masterful, absolutely masterful.
It's kind of what we need F1 to be like in real life.
Yeah, we do. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Well, Softy lifts the trophy aloft. He's done exactly what he would have wanted to have done. He's taken the race win. He might still end up winning Canada as well if it does go to stewards. His instant Machine Island, who went on to win that race. So, it could be a perfect evening for Softy, despite the fact he started one of the races 19th.
Well, what an end to the night it was. Two Grand Prix, they're both excellent. Once again, TGP1 shows its class. Maybe not towards the end of Canada, but it definitely was a great Grand Prix. And that Grand Prix, we're just going to have to take a moment, because we need to relax and get going for next week again. I don't know how next week is even going to have a chance at topping this week.
I don't think I'm going to be able to be here next week. I'm still going to be worn out from tonight. I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary. The racing we've been treated to. I hope you've enjoyed it as well from wherever you're watching, because we certainly have. And at the sort of anticlimax we had of Canada qualifying, where we thought it was going to rain and it didn't, to the two races we had, take it. I'd have happily taken it because we've all been treated tonight. And I, for one, Jack, I don't know about you, but I struggled to find two races back to back that was not only as entertaining as they was, but to see drivers giving it everything that they have back to back was just extraordinary.
We seem to have the league seems to be very good pace wise, like guys across the chart. We kind of have that top four battle, then we have that midfield battle, and even the guys at the back. We might not see it much in the stream, but they're so close. And Softy looks like he's going to win the championship, but let's be honest, anyone can win a race at any stage in this season, and I just can't wait for next week to start.
Well, neither. Well, we hope that you're all going to be joining us then as well for next week's races. And if they're anything like what we have witnessed tonight, you're going to be in for a treat, as this TGP1 season just seems to be going from strength to strength. So make sure you join us next week. We are racing in Spa. We are racing in Kota. But for now, all that's left for me to say is I've been Mike Noon. He's been Jack Craig. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week. It's been a TGP Series production, and we'll see you on PS4. Good night.